Good day, RevYou Hub, aspiring LPTs and professional teachers. My name is Joseph Angelou I. I am a teacher at De La Salipa in Lipa City, Batangas, and also a proud alumnus of RevYou Hub back when it was still called as MindGym. So, it's Sunday afternoon today, September 19, and just a few hours ago, Coach Alice sent me a messenger chat requesting me to do this short but inspiring talk or message for our RevYou Hub aspiring LPTs on the tips or experiences I've had back when I took the licensure examination for teachers in 2015. So I'm making this video right now by faith. I've had a previous shoot also today for an upcoming speaking engagement. So because I'll be having a hectic week starting tomorrow, so I'm taking this chance to make this video right now. I hope that despite it being sudden or very candid, you could still get a lot of inspiring tips coming from me as a previous LET taker. So the title of my talk is If I Have Done It, So Can You, because I believe that passing the LET is an opportunity for everyone, provided that we put our hard work and integrate prayers into the taking of the exam. And the title of my talk is Sir Joseph's Tips to Pass the Board Exam. And I'll be giving you tips based on my own experience of being a LET taker 6 years ago. It's a sad fact to say that the first ever tip to really pass the board exam is to review as much as you can and to always take time to allot a few hours of every day to do that review. RevYou Hub is there to integrate into your minds all of the concepts that you need to pass the board exam, but it also needs your personal effort to make that extra time to go over these concepts, not to simply memorize them, but to keep them by heart, so that when you encounter these exam items pertaining to the things that you have reviewed, even though the words would be jumbled and the concepts have been shuffled, you could still answer these questions well. The next is to prepare the things that you would need during the examination, both personal things and those that will be used for exam taking. So I know RevYou Hub and PRC has already given you the list of the things to bring, but don't forget those that could help fuel you up as you take the exam. Specifically, I'm talking about food. And I remember bringing a lot of food in the examination room, but usually they would tell us that these things should be contained in transparent or translucent containers. So I really brought a big plastic bag to contain all of the food that I brought. I brought all of my favorite food, and actually when you take the exam, you can eat anytime, but of course, it might eat up some more time for taking the exam. So make sure you manage your time well. And of course, eat a heavy breakfast. So I took the exam in Lucena City because that is the closest there is to Batangas. And it's in the neighboring province of Quezon. So we checked in at a hotel the day before, and the hotel is actually jam-packed with a lot of test takers. But the hotel was kind enough to put our breakfast, our heavy breakfast, in packs because they know that we have to leave early. So we just brought them, ate them in the school where I will be taking the exam. And eating a heavy breakfast, scientifically, eating heavy before an exam could be effective, as it also helps fuel you when you already take the exam. Coming from a long sleep, but I don't think you'll be able to sleep very well the day before, just like what happened to me. Although we went to bed early, it took me hours before I finally fell asleep, and then I woke up also really early. So the breakfast helped me to pursue my exam taking the whole day. And then of course, be early or even or never be late to come to your testing center or to the school where you will be assigned to. I remember the day before, we took the effort to really get to the school where we will be taking the exam. So we were in a van, we were a group, so we had this sort of field trip going to the different schools where we were assigned to. It helps to be familiar with the place where you will be taking the exam, and we also took the effort to really go to the exact room. Although the room is locked, so we just went on the corridor or the exact spot where we will be taking the exam. So at least you get to have the feel of how the place really looks like, and that won't surprise you anymore the next day, because sometimes the element of surprise could also be a distraction for you. And then remember important information, just like your examination number. So I think you will be assigned to a specific examination number. So please make sure that you keep that in mind. You keep that very small piece of paper that will be given to you, because when you look at the online results of the exam, you would have to key it in. So to make sure that you see the exam results as soon as possible, you keep that examination number intact, so that you can get hold of it anytime that you need to. So there might be a risk of losing that very small piece of paper, so there's a need for you to be responsible for that. And then, listen well to the test proctors, and of course, ask as many sensible questions as you want. Um, Practically speaking, the proctors have been paid to do their job during the exam day. So do not hesitate to ask as many questions as possible, because asking questions could clarify things and could help you really follow instructions on how you'll be able to pass the licensure examination for teachers. Of course, you won't be allowed to ask questions about the items themselves, but anything that is related to the test-taking experience could be clarified with your respective proctors. And of course, shade properly. It will always be important for you to shade those boxes well. What I usually do as a technique is to first enclose the box using my pencil before shading it up, to ensure that I was able to shade properly. There is no way for the machine to read your answers, but just through the proper shading of your answer. So make sure you do the shading properly. And of course, read the directions well. When you get there, you're not only there to take the exam, you're also there to make your identification, to write the oath of a test taker. So make sure you read all of them. Although I know RevYou Hub has given you the feel of how it is to take the exam, but it still pays to read the instructions well and to follow these instructions properly. Next is to make sure to shade one choice for every number. I remember back then in my experience, I even shaded the wrong letters for my name. So it's very important, of course, to shade your name, each letter of your name properly. Because, for example, if you already passed the exam and there has been a discrepancy in the right name and the name that you wrote or you shaded in the exam paper, that could still go through a process to ensure that you are one and the same person. So make sure that you shade that or you make the right name and shade one choice for every number, especially among the exam items. And then, of course, there will always be an option E. Option E is about not finding the right answer among the 4 other choices. But in my own experience in taking the exam, I think at most I only shaded the letter E twice. So coming from the hundreds of items that you answered, 2 letter E's will be a very, very small percentage. I usually tell my students when we do the in-house review in school, in De La Salipa, that as much as possible, we make it the last option to shade the letter E. Let's put our trust in the exam, in the item makers, that the answer will always be there. And then, of course, to avoid erasures. I say avoid, not avoiding erasures is different from not making any erasure. So there might be a time that you would have to make an erasure, but make sure you erase it properly. And as much as possible, of course, avoid any erasures, because sometimes you feel a bit paranoid if you've made an erasure and then thinking about the possibility that the machine will not be able to read your paper well. And then, don't spend too much time on a single or a few questions. I remember one question, I think I can divulge this. It was a question on how many prime numbers there were in 1 to 100. And it took me, really, this is my honest experience, it took me 15 minutes because I do not know the right way to answer this question. It actually has a technique, but what I did was to manually count from one. I wrote 1 to 100 on my scratch paper and then canceled off all of the composite numbers to give me the prime numbers. Well, fortunately, I still got the answer right. I think it's 25. But imagine the time that it took me to just answer one question. So make sure you manage your time well to ensure that you get to finish the exam on time. And of course, limit your CR trips. For my own experience, I was assigned to a public elementary school. And you know the setup in public schools, they usually have a built-in CR in every room. So it was to my advantage that I usually drink a lot. That's why it also translates to my usual trips to the CR. It was good that there was a CR in our own classroom. But what if you have been assigned to a private school where CRs are only found at the end of the corridor? So going through a lot of frequent trips to the CR might also reduce your time for exam taking. So make sure you limit your fluid intake for a while to give you more time in answering the exam. And then of course, relax and enjoy taking the exam. There is no need for you to hurry because as far as I remember, because I'm a biology major, when I took the biology exam in the afternoon, I remember being the second to the last person to leave the room. And it was a bit of a pressure to see that a lot of my co-exam takers were leaving early. But come to think of it, the exam has been scheduled for that particular time. So you won't have to race against time just to be able to finish ahead of the others. Finishing early does not guarantee being able to pass the licensure examination for teachers. Make sure you maximize the time that you have and enjoy taking the exam. In my own experience, it's a bit of a challenge to take the exam after lunch because you feel sleepy afterwards. I was answering a lot of items on, I think it was already on professional education or on biology. So things could get a bit boring sometimes, but make sure you focus and you concentrate until you finish the exam. And my last tip is, of course, to pray. I remember 6 years ago when I took the exam, it was September 28. It was the feast day of San Lorenzo Ruiz. So, San Lorenzo Ruiz is the first Filipino saint. So, I really prayed to him that hopefully he helps me and my co-exam takers to pass the exam. And he did. I feel that he helped us out as we only took the exam once to get that license. And the day before, I remember St. Ferdinand Cathedral in Lucena City was really jam-packed with a lot of exam takers the next day. So, because it's a Sunday, so we attended the anticipated Mass, and it also helped us to spiritually prepare for the upcoming exam. So don't forget to always keep in mind that getting or achieving your goals in life will always need your own effort and also the divine intervention by having faith in God that you have already done your best and He will do the rest for you to get that goal that you are aiming for. So let me end my short talk with some inspirational Bible verses for test takers. I take the first one from Philippians, telling us, "Do not be anxious about anything. There is no room to fear the exam, but in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be known to God, and the peace of God will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." So, as I've told you, getting your dreams or attaining your dreams will always include your prayer and also uh, your effort or your hard work. And the mind governed by the flesh is death, but the mind governed by the Spirit is life and peace, from Romans 8:6. And when you are afraid, you can all put your trust in the Lord. That will always be the best kind of advice I could give you coming from our faith and the Bible. So let me just show to you the pictures by through the RevYou Hub, through the assistance of Coach Alice and MindGym back then, now RevYou Hub. Thankfully, I was able to finish in the 6th place during that time. I did not actually expect to get as high as this award for taking the licensure examination for teachers, owing to the fact that I am a taker of the LET through the professional education program. I'm not an education major. I'm a registered nurse by profession, but by God's grace, I was not able to top the nursing licensure examination, but I was able to do it for the licensure examination for teachers. And beyond getting the medal and the certificate, it gave me memories to ponder on and to last a lifetime. So it really gave me a lot of opportunities to also share as a reviewer myself in school for the upcoming LET takers from De La Salipa, and also to share my experiences to aspiring LPTs as well. But beyond this, I feel that it's always the recognition that this was the pub map that MindGym or RevYou Hub provided us 6 years ago. So I still keep a copy of this because I really feel proud to be part of MindGym. And being part of MindGym will always be a very important aspect of my life, because MindGym or RevYou Hub has given me the opportunity to excel in the field of education. And Coach Alice, if these recognitions, or even the aspiring LET takers and professional teachers, if these recognitions are not yet enough, Coach Alice, do you still remember giving this to us during the victory party? So I hope you also get yours as you become a top-notcher in LET. And of course, this was the prize that I got that time, a hard drive which I still use today. Coach Alice, thank you very much. And I hope you also get your frame and your hard drive, if it's still a hard drive, as you pass and top the licensure examination for teachers come next week, September 26. And with that, I end my short but inspiring message. I hope it was really short, but more than being short, I hope it has been inspiring for you. I'll be praying for your success in the upcoming exam, and I'm waiting and I'm anticipating for the time that you join us as the top-notchers coming from the RevYou Hub after the results of the LET are out. God bless you. Good luck, everyone. Thank you very much.